In the middle of work, the boss suddenly starts shouting insults. Something gets thrown, and the entire room goes silent. Many foreign workers go through moments like this. It's not rare. It's something that happens in real workplaces. Most people don't react right away, but when it keeps happening, the moment to choose eventually comes. The idea of reporting it brings immediate fear because it can affect your job and even your visa. Staying silent also has consequences. What you tolerate today can quietly set the standard for tomorrow. What would you choose? A few days later, it happens again. The insults continue, and the tension builds. At some point, some people decide it's gone too far. It's no longer something they can just ignore. When threats or physical contact happen, it crosses into something more serious, something legal. In Korea, verbal abuse and physical violence are illegal. Foreign workers are protected under the same laws. It shifts from emotion to action. Now it's about what you can actually do. There are several ways to report it. You can contact labor offices, the police, or support centers. Some hotlines offer support in multiple languages. That makes it easier to take the first step. Support centers can also provide interpretation and guidance. You're not always expected to handle it alone. But there's one important condition. Without evidence, it can be hard to prove what happened. So many people start collecting records. Audio, messages, or photos can make a difference. Even deciding to report isn't easy, because that choice comes with its own risks. Once a report is filed, an investigation begins. The workplace becomes subject to official review. Often, the boss's behavior starts to change. They can't act the same way as before. In some cases, the work environment improves, or there may be a chance to move to a different workplace. This is the biggest advantage of reporting. It creates the possibility for change. But it also affects relationships. Trust with the employer is often broken. The atmosphere at work can become tense. The pressure might not be obvious, but it's there. Concerns about job security can grow, especially when it's tied to your visa status. Until there's a result, uncertainty remains, and that process itself can be stressful. But change always comes with a price, and someone has to pay it. In many cases, people choose to do nothing. They decide to keep things as they are. This usually comes from practical concerns. Keeping the job and visa becomes the priority. Avoiding conflict keeps things stable, for now. Work continues as usual. The paycheck stays the same. On the surface, everything seems fine. That's the biggest advantage of staying silent. It avoids immediate risk. But the situation doesn't really change. The insults and pressure continue. Over time, it can get worse because the boundaries slowly disappear. At some point, something gets thrown again, this time closer than before. There's physical contact, more direct than it used to be. That's the moment everything crosses the line, and it doesn't go back. the mental burden starts to build. Stress becomes part of everyday life. Even going to work can feel heavy. Focus becomes harder to maintain. Coworkers may be going through the same thing, but most people stay quiet. In that kind of environment, nothing changes. The pattern just continues. As time passes, the choices become harder. The situation starts to feel fixed. At some point, leaving starts to feel like the only option. But by then, the choices are limited. Delayed decisions often come with a cost, and sometimes that cost is already too high. Some even consider illegal options, which can lead to even bigger risks. Staying silent may bring short-term stability, but it can lead to bigger problems later. This isn't just about one person. It's shaped by the environment and the system. In Korea, workplace abuse and violence are illegal. Foreign workers are protected, and most workplaces operate normally. There are support systems available. Hotlines and centers can help, and many people have actually resolved their situations through them. In certain situations, changing workplaces is allowed after reporting. But in reality, each case depends on specific conditions. Whether to report or stay silent depends on each situation. But one thing becomes clear: nothing changes if you endure without a boundary. Everyone deserves dignity, no matter the job. And if someone is waiting for you at home, this choice may shape how you're remembered. Not just how you survive, but what you choose to stand for.